Good evening, people. It was a shy feeling in the morning. We haven't had that sort of feeling for a while. And I forgot how it felt like to lose a game of football. And it felt worse at 6:30 tonight when that Gabriel header went in. But welcome back to the Red Zone. Gene's not here. He can't make it. Failed the late fitness test. But you've got me, you've got the chip, and you've got Ben. But before we go into everything, I just want to reiterate and just clarify why some of you guys probably didn't see my WhatsApp message, our tweets yesterday as to why we didn't do the watch along and we didn't do any more content after that. It's because our brother, and he's a friend of the channel. He comes on regular shows. You guys will know the name Billy. You guys will know the name MBA. He's got a few accounts, bless him, but he suffered the great loss of our beloved mother. Because his beloved mother is our beloved mother, and we just didn't feel right. And out of respect, we didn't do any content yesterday because football's important. We go crazy about it day in, day out. But you know what? There's a lot more important things to life, and that's why the lads didn't feel right, including myself. And it was just the least we could do to do no content yesterday, out of respect. And myself and a few of the lads went down to the funeral today. I've just got back from Slough, Avi's end, but we're here, we're talking football again, and we just keep her in our prayers that may God reunite her with her loved ones in paradise one day, inshallah. So keep her in your prayers, and we hope just that Allah gives the family sabr during this difficult time. Avi, I know you wanted share some sentiments as well.
Yeah. Billy's an old friend of mine, actually. Way before the channel, way before we all connected. Schoolboy friends. From Lee Middle, Lee Junior, and then he went to a grammar school. I didn't go to grammar, unfortunately. I wasn't clever enough, but yeah, I'm sharing the same sentiments as you. Asim, prayers and thoughts with Billy and his family, his brothers. This is a difficult time, and it'll be good seeing him on back in the chat, and hopefully contributing on our Saturday phone-ins when the time's right. So yeah, prayers up.
Ben, what's going on? How are we doing? I know you had an eye on the Ryder Cup, but what's happening with that Ryder Cup? Let's get it out of the way because I'm in the mood today, Ben. I'm in the mood for some home truths. But have Europe got home tonight?
Not quite yet. Not quite. I just got it on in the background there. They should be okay, but it's a bit too squeaky bum for my liking. Like it was on the Arsenal and Newcastle game a couple of hours ago. It was a little bit of a nail biter, and it probably shouldn't have been a nail biter because of what the Reds did on Saturday, or not did, as the case may be. It's what's called. It's been an all round bit of a swing of a weekend. It is. It's just one of them, isn't it?
Team USA, Asim. We've got a small Team USA for today. The closing stage of the Ryder Cup.
Are they going to win?
There's only one country to support.
We only need half a point to win, so I think we should be all right. Have a word.
Half a point, yeah? Half a point.
Yeah, half a point from 6.
Right.
So, yeah, Saturday wasn't great. It was a big swing. It doesn't happen very often, does it? Let's be honest. There isn't many weekends when we lose and our nearest rivals win. Hasn't felt like that for a long time. But, reading the chat this afternoon, the Ultras chat, I must admit, people are going to need to get to realise what I'm like when it comes to stuff like this. Unless, it's going to have to be something pretty major for me to start annihilating the team. Other people might have different opinions, but I like to have a bit of context on this. I am the ultimate glass half man, half full person, and the end of the day, we didn't play well first half at all against Palace. We were very poor. You know, certain individuals are poor again, namely Canate, who's probably the one that I'm most worried about at the moment. He's thrown in a stinker, 1 in 3, which is not good at all for his consistency. Literally on the fan cams last week, you know, Chima's and Asim was singing his praises, and he looked like he hadn't played football for half the game on Saturday. So that was really frustrating and concerning. But overall, the performance wasn't great. I think there's a lot of chat at the moment about us shoehorning Burke into the 11 and accommodating other players into the team. I've been shouting out from Wirtz off the left, and he did start off the left, but it didn't work at all. He was more off the right from what I could see in most of the game. So I think the shape and the structure wasn't right. Or Palace played really well. They did exactly what Palace did: bomb the ball forwards. You know, played into the channels, made us work, turned us round, solid defensively. And you know, at the end of the day, it was a last-minute winner that got them the points. But if we're all honest, they probably should have had the points wrapped up long before that, and that's the reality of it. But we played much better second half. We had some really good chances ourselves. The game could have swung either way. And from my perspective, it's just, it is what it is in the Premier League. You know, these aren't no mugs. They're second in the Premier League now. They're unbeaten in 18. They're a very, very good side and a very difficult side, and a side that we, you know, seem to struggle against. And we didn't play well, and we had to play really, really well to beat them, and we didn't. And that's just the way the football goes sometimes. And then Arsenal obviously compounded it today with their result, but especially getting it in the last minute. But if we're all honest again, they played really well. And they did what they had to do, and they got the points, and that's how it goes. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, it's game on.
It is what it is. That's what Ben says, Avi. But for me, especially the first half, it was self-inflicted. Agree?
Yeah, I think Slot tinkered it. I think we saw it as well with the formation. A box 4, which I will want to pick your brain on, Asim. Look, I do want to address a few things here. At the start of the season, I think we all agreed. I think we all had this sort of ego about us. I think as fans as well, where we thought, you know, we're going to be like the Harlem Globetrotters and obliterate this league. I still feel that we will win this league by quite a bit of a margin, regardless of what Gary Neville and what the media are portraying after their victory to St. James's Park by saying the pendulum has swung. The pendulum fucking doesn't swing 6 games into the season. Let's just make that, let me just make myself clear. It was a great result by Arsenal today. First in a long time where they've got the better of us, where it's been meaningful. Last season, they had opportunities, ample opportunities to get one over us if we had a bad result. We have got a draw. I know there was very rare losses up until March, but any draw, you know, they didn't capitalize. They capitalized this weekend. Good luck to them. Well done. This season is over 38 games. It's a long season. Slot will make a few more mistakes in the season, but there is nothing to worry about. Yes, we can go into it in isolation, Asim, and we will in regards to yesterday's game. It wasn't pretty first half.
Nothing to worry about, Avi.
Like I said, in isolation, we can worry about that game yesterday. But if you're telling me, I'm worried about Slot, I'm worried about his tactical acumen against Glasgow, he's become unstuck again against him. No, I'm not worried at all. Slot will get it right. He's got these. Listen, we've got to remember, we've had new players come in, new wing backs, a 10 for the first time. We were trying to implement a system to integrate a specialized 10 inwards, a new striker, 2 strikers, Ekitike and Isak. Those players that have come in are playing nowhere near their full capacity. Let's just remember that. And we're top of the summit right now. So everything has to be handled in context. But yesterday, yeah, it was a bit of a stinker. First half, especially Asim, we could have been 3-4. I think if we were 4 down, I think we would have had to like it a little bit because they deserved it. They actually deserved being 4 up going to halftime.
Avi said, look, in isolation, you can have a go at the manager, you can have a go at the players as well. But how many weeks now are we concerned about Florian Wirtz, Ben? When you spend 160 million pounds on a player, a lot of the fan base who are worried about him, who are criticizing him, when you and you have to understand it, Ben. I'm not there yet, personally speaking. But if someone's giving Florian Wirtz a bit of shit, especially for the first half performance, who I put on the manager rather than Florian Wirtz. He didn't perform well, but I'll come to my thoughts later on. I want your thoughts as well. But 160 million pounds, you want more from the player as well, man. And the guys who are giving him shit, it's understandable. You spend so much money on a player who's proven it in the league, German league, who's proven it in the Champions League. 160 million pounds. I've said it about 3-4 times. You want a bit of a plug and play option, Ben. And for the guys who are crying out for that, it is understandable.
Yeah, Wirtz. Wow, flipping heck. Difficult conversation. It's not happened for him, and I heard Tony Cascarino on the radio before saying he's actually regressed. He was really good in the Charity Shield, and he's got progressively worse since he started the season. Let's just sort of have a little bit of context, though. The money is the money. He didn't pay that money. Liverpool paid that money. There needs to be some real context. The lad is 22 years of age. He's come to a new league. There's seasoned professionals who know this league inside out, namely Mohamed Salah. Let's all have that right. Who haven't really put in a 90-minute performance yet this season at all. So if we're going to start having a go at Florian Wirtz, who's a 22-year-old lad who's just come into the Premier League, who's finding his feet, who's trying his best, who hasn't really, settled yet at all, I think we probably need to look at some of the other players as well. For me, he is an unbelievable talent, and we just have to find the right position for him. I feel at the moment we're probably shoehorning him in. We've got a Premier League winning midfield in Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister, who have been there, done it, and got the T-shirt, and we seem to be accommodating Wirtz to try and get him into his natural position. Maybe he does need a little bit of a situation where, he's coming off the bench for half an hour, or he's not like expected to completely and utterly run and dominate a game. I think that there needs to be, again, a reality check in the fact that he is a new player. He is new to the league, and there needs to be a little bit of context. The team as a whole aren't playing great as things stand, but I've also seen situations where he's put balls on a plate for different players and they haven't took the chances. The big one that he had yesterday where he ghosted in at the back post, great ball from Szoboszlai. He just needs a little bit more of a heavier touch either way, and it's a goal. And that's just small margins. I feel like it just takes one moment, one goal, one swing of the boot, and he'll be up and running, and people will start to, look at the bigger picture. I'm not worried about him at all. I think there is more important parts of the team that need to be functioning better, namely the centre-backs for a start, i.e. Konate needs to be a lot more consistent. I think Kerkez has been a little bit off it, hasn't really settled at all. The goal that they scored yesterday, you look at it and you think Kerkez just needed to put his right foot through the ball and clear it, and he decides to wrap his left foot round it and puts it out wide for the throw-in.
Ben, I just want to comment there because I heard that a lot of tweets saying, why didn't he clear it with his right? Those are he's so predominantly left-footed that he probably didn't back himself to hit that with his right. What he did was fine. To be honest, what he did, hear me out. What Kirkes did was clear it because that was his first instinct to clear it across. Right? He did that. That's the natural instinct of any left back. It could be Ashley Cole. It could be the best Roberto Carlos. They were always going to play that. What happened afterwards? That was a disgrace. And rightly so, Slot called it out. That defending on the edge of the box with the throw-in, Asim. That's and
there was 3 moments. There was 3 moments. The ball initially came in and it was missed initially, or it was flicked on initially, and then I think it was Rio who lost the first header, Jones who lost the second header, and then it dropped down to the back post for Nketiah. But the thing that Slot picked out is that Gakpo and he didn't say his name, but I watched it back and it was Gakpo who, as soon as the first header was lost, he was gone and he was trying to break away. So his natural mentality was like, we can score here, we can get a breakaway goal. And it's just a little bit of a check. And I think Liverpool, I think the players in general, I think at this moment they're just bulletproof. And it's like, it's just going to happen. It's just going to keep happening. And it won't keep happening because this is a very good league with very good teams. And you don't keep getting away with it week in, week out. So I'm all right with this. I'm all right with the situation. We're not going to batter every team week in, week out. They're just not. you know, and Crystal Palace are an excellent team, and it is what it is. Sorry, Avi, go on.
Two segments before that as well. Curtis Jones, who's brilliant at ball retention, the one pass that he plays goes out for a throw in. That was one segment. The second segment is when Van Dijk tries to be very nonchalant and clears it, tries to pass it with his left foot. That goes in for a throw in, and they get the ball. So there was variables before we even should be. I think someone's mentioned it. Microanalyze. Asim's microanalyzing. Kirkers. Yes. Look.
That is not my. I'm sorry.
If he has enough confidence,
how the hell is that microanalyzing?
Enough confidence
How
on
is
his
that microanalyzing? Tell me how that is microanalyzing.
90% of defenders, 90% of fullbacks, left backs would have done what Kirkers did.
No. It's 96th minute. You watch that play again. Our set pieces, we've conceded many set pieces this season. Yeah.
Like the first goal was.
Like the first goal, like the Hendo goal. I think we've got a bit of a habit, heading, opposition player just to tap it in for the last week or so. But maybe they just get out of that habit after Saturday. But Avi, when you're watching that, Kirkes just needs to go. We've just got the winner, equalizer. If a break comes, a break comes. But defense first, there, man. And if you're gonna turn on it, then the least thing you have to do is make it to halfway line or just near there. He turned on it and realized the Crystal Palace player is too close, and that's why he went there. And I'm not condoning the defense.
I think that's the first instinct anyway. Your first instinct is to clear
it out.
No, Asim, no.
That's the first instinct. And the reason why he didn't get it out,
you're going way too much. You're going way too much to.
He hasn't got a right foot. You have to use your right foot. He's your ability.
Get
it out. Get it cleared.
Albert Moreno didn't have a right foot. Mostly.
Why are you trying to back him up? Why are you trying to compare him to Moreno?
He wasn't.
We just bought the lad for £40 million.
He wasn't comfortable enough to clear it with his right.
No, we have given Andy Robertson. No, let me finish. We have given Andy Robertson a lot of shit over the years, including me, for saying he's been too left-footed bias. When you watch that clip again, you have to call it. Do you
think Robbo would have used his right foot there?
You know what I would say? I've given Robbo shit for using his left foot when he's supposed to be using his right foot, and I thought he is a lot left-sided bias, left-footed bias. When I watch Kirkes for the last, month or so, look, he is young, he is going to learn. But for a professional footballer, for the context of the game, just get rid. He did get rid.
He got rid.
He didn't get rid. It wasn't good enough because that was because the first option, the right option, is to get rid, and that set piece doesn't appear then, Avi. When someone gives a really bad penalty away, and the keeper on the penalty gets a hand to it where he should have saved it, are you gonna give the keeper shit? No, because the guy who gave a really horrible penalty away, he's more at fault.
Yeah. I think you're being way overcritical.
I think we're both right. I think you're both right, because he should have cleared it better, but then we should have defended the long throw in much better as well, shouldn't we? And that is a factor. Of course. That is a factor. And you know what? It was a good point again made that we've conceded 4 goals from set pieces so far this season. So that definitely needs to improve. And, but it happens. Just teams are conceded. The Crystal Palace are now the only unbeaten team in the Premier League. Crystal Palace are the only unbeaten team in the Premier League. So I think people just expecting us to just win and win and win and win, like it was when it was Manchester City and Liverpool winning like 25 games in a row or going unbeaten. It's like, this is a difficult league. Every team's well drilled, barring the odd couple, and we haven't played any of the shit teams, by the way. I'd point that out as well. We haven't played any of the crap teams. We played all good, difficult, very, very difficult teams, and we're still top of the pile. Top of the pile.
Ben, I think what happens is arrogance kind of creeps in or self-confidence creeps in. When we went 1-1, and the main point I want to address is, I'll come to Asim, but just quickly, when Kaiser scores in the 82nd minute, 84th minute, you're then thinking we're going to win this.
Yeah, of course you are.
It's a repeat. One of them's going to get to the head. Someone's going to score, whether it's Salah, Szoboszlai, or it's going to be Chiesa again, or a Gakpo might just hit it in the net. You just thought we were going to win. So when it when they scored, Eddie Nketiah, when he does score, it's a bit of a, it takes the stuffing out of us and it brings us a little bit of back to reality and a bit of humility. Asim, I want to talk to you, team selection. Let's go back to the team selection. Palace that and Slot, these where in isolation we can critique Slot a lot here. Munoz, a massive runner on the right hand side for them. Tyrick Mitchell covers kilometers. The power in Ismail Assar, who's given us problems. Mateta, Canada, who's not like an endo, he's a 6 foot midfielder who can play a bit, and then Adam Wharton. And then you've got Jeremy Pino, who's come from Villarreal, who can run the channels, and he's a very good runner and a winning runner. Compare that to our 2-2, our box, McAllister, who's struggling, very light, hates running on the back foot. Gravenberch, who is 6 foot, but he hasn't got that physical stature yet. He hasn't built out his frame yet. And then you got Szoboszlai and Wirtz. And then Salah and Isak, they were doing their stuff, but you had Wirtz and Szoboszlai and McAllister and Gravenberch. I thought that's where the game was lost. We never got control of the ball first half. Yes, on paper, it looks pretty that we've got 4 brilliant midfielders. I would say three or 2 world-class, 2 on the potential to become world-class. I think Florian Wirtz is a world-class performer. You just got to look at that season at Bayer Leverkusen in the last 18 months that he's been performing at a world-class level. And he will at Liverpool too. I think that's where we've got to concentrate on, Asim. What were your thoughts with that midfield choice? What was your thoughts on? I know you said Wirtz wasn't on face wasn't on the left, but on paper he was on the left. What do you think of the formation? And was that a pivotal moment for you when you saw that team lined up? That I think we're going to find it tough here.
Avi, what have I been saying all summer? The moment we have bought, when we got Wirtz, and we were all waxing lyrical about the signing, and rightly so, and broke the British record, and rightly so.
The chat is shite, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just reading some of this. Honestly, the negativity is blows my mind. It blows. I do question whether some of these people are just genuinely Liverpool fans or whether they're hoping and praying that we lose a game. Like one there just said, stop waffling. We've been awful all season. We're top of the league. We won every game bar one. And it's like, honestly, sorry, Asim. I interrupted.
No. Look, we're here to talk about the Palace game and the first half. What I would say about the Liverpool performance and the manager's performance as well, because he picked the team. I would say that was Liverpool's worst performance that we have seen since he came through the door at Liverpool. The 4-2-2 idea. What have I been saying all summer, lads? If you're gonna play Wirtz on paper, and I know he didn't play that position, a lot of idiots have been telling me Wirtz didn't play on the left wing, but on paper he did. Whether he roams around in the pockets of space, or whether he's on the right hand side, the left hand side, he's playing on paper at left wing, because you didn't see Cody Gakpo play on the pitch on Saturday afternoon. But if you're going to play it, then you have to have 1, the balls to play it properly, and 2, the personnel to support. And if you're going to accommodate Florian Wirtz in the team, then you have to give him a guy who can hold width in the midfield. Now, McAllister is struggling with legs and form and confidence, and you have to caveat everything with the fact that he's struggling personally. But in terms of traits, I've been screaming out loud that you cannot have a player who loves central areas, who loves the similar areas, like Florian Wirtz. If he's in an advanced position, he's going to occupy the similar positions. If he's not going to occupy the similar positions, then you have to make sure Kerkez is really, really high and hold width. And if you're going to come up against a Palace side who defend in a 5-3-2 at the best of occasions, on most occasions on Saturday afternoon, it was a 5-4-1. You have to let him go. But the problem is he was shit scared. Why? Is because he knows McAllister has come into the defensive line and be part of the build-up. But he was shit scared because of McAllister being in the defensive line on the counter-attack against a team like Crystal Palace. And how many times did you see it where they turned us around and McAllister was struggling for pace and legs? Is because he's been struggling, he's been needing to come and be the third defender where Kerkez was high, but he wasn't high enough. And we had the imbalance in the team was just It was absolutely shocking on Saturday afternoon, Avi. I couldn't believe my eyes what I was watching. And if you're going to give the freedom to Florian Wirtz, you have to give him the freedom from a number 10 position and then go into the right areas and left areas. You go watch, and we give a lot of shit to Mikel Arteta last week when Eze played at left wing. There was a viral clip going around saying, if you're going to go into those central areas, you'd rather not even be on the pitch. You come in here, you're stretching the opposition. This wasn't Arsenal we were playing. This wasn't Manchester City we were playing, where they had their two defenders on the halfway line and we could allow Florian Wirtz to come into central areas and come off the touchline. This was a bloody Palace side who said, here you are, we are defending with 5 defenders. We've got 3 really good centre-backs and we've got 2 really good full-backs, where our distances are really, really good. So if you want to go to the right areas and go into complete no man's land, we're happy because we're not moving here. And I felt sorry for Wirtz is because I thought he was put into that position where Arne Slot, I absolutely love him. I think he's a brilliant coach, tactically one of the best in the world. I called him a genius many, many times last season. But you have to say he bottled it on Saturday afternoon. Why? Is because of what I've just mentioned. And you're going to tell me after the game that we try to create central overloads against a team that defends in a 5-4-1 who wants us to come through the center of the pitch. He didn't do that because of central overloads. He was shit scared because of the counter-attack of Crystal Palace. They have a big lad who can hold the ball up. They've got willing runners in Ismail Sarr who can go into number 9 positions. That Kavada lad is a really good footballer as well and very adaptable. They've got fullbacks who are willing to go, and they don't need to pass the ball out. On a few occasions, they tried, and we pressed them really well when we sorted our structure out in the second half. What we did in the first half is let them go and bypass our press as passive it was. And then they've got willing runners. They've got, like I said, they've got a big lad who can hold the ball up and can turn defenders like Kanate on a sixpence. And they've got willing runners who are close to him. So there's not a Beto like at Everton who was really isolated. They've got players who are close surrounding, technical players. And I have to put it on the manager. That first half performance was an absolute shocker. And why are you trying to play central overloads against a team who want you to attack the center of the pitch? Because they've got them flooded, and our lines, our 2 number 10s. There's no point having 2 10s in those pockets of space if you can't find them. And you have to give credit to Palace. What I thought we played into their hands is because we were ultimately shit scared of their transitions. It wasn't anything about, there's no point getting control over a team. Like I said, it's not PSG that we're playing against. There's no point getting control against a team who are happy to sit really, really deep, who can get out with, a blink of an eye. But look, he changed it. We were a lot better in the second half. But
when you've got,
we could have easily been 3-4, 5-0 down.
When you've got possession-based players like a McAllister, like a Gravenberch, like a Wirtz, you're not telling me that first 45 minutes, and I think you've broken down the first half perfectly, and there's not a loophole that I can find in what you've just said. But you can't tell me those 3 midfielders that I've just named. Sabosla, you could say, but more Gravenberch, McAllister, and Wirtz, they just couldn't retain the ball. You can't tell me that. You can't fathom those 3 just having the ball for a few minutes, settle down the crowd, just play the ball, just play the ball, pass the ball, just keep possession. Don't harry the opposition, just be comfortable. We looked anything but for the first 45 minutes. They didn't want the ball. It was as if it was on an egg timer. None of those 3 players wanted the ball. They weren't asking for it. That's not because of the formation now. We're talking about individuals now who are comfortable with the ball. They didn't want it.
Who's this?
Wirtz, Gravenberch, and McAllister. Those 3 in particular. When it comes to receiving the ball, just keep the possession proceeding. Because I'm thinking now, if you're playing Wirtz and McAllister, which you should be playing against low block teams and maybe the bottom, not the top 10, I guess top 6 opposition. I'm not a big fan of it, like yesterday proved. And against Arsenal, I don't think it works. But if you're playing Wirtz and McAllister, surely your game plan is that you want 72% or above possession of the game. But we didn't have that in the first half. Second half, we get a lot more control. But how are you telling me, Asim, because of the formation, that they just didn't want to keep possession? That we didn't have possession. We were getting outplayed in every segment, in every transition. They were creating chances that win.
But is the reason why, because our structure was all over the place. There was an imbalance on and off the ball. On the ball, Avi, we were too predictable. Why? Is because if you've got a winger on paper in Florian Wirtz, he's a winger on paper. He's not a winger in personality and traits, but on paper, he was our winger. If he's not willing to run at players, and if you're going to give him the freedom to go on the right hand side, left hand side, go wherever you want, because we've talked about Florian Wirtz, the positionalist number 10. He was giving him that freedom, and I can understand it to an extent. But then you have to let Kirkes go into areas where he has to be holding width, because they've got 5 at the back. It's not 4. And their fullback, our fullback has to go against their fullback then. If you're going to let Wirtz go into the areas that you want him or want him to go and to express himself. But it wasn't. And that's where I criticize the manager. And in terms of build-up, if you're going to let McAllister come and receive it off Van Dijk, effectively he's a third centre-back. He's a Tony Cruz. He's a Thiago. But when Thiago had the ball, he had some players coming into the pockets, whether it was Mane coming off the touchline and turning and getting fined in the extra man. But when you've got Crystal Palace who don't press us, and they're happy to sit in the low block and say, come to those areas where we want you and we want to engage. And once they engage, so it wasn't a matter of anyone wanting the ball. We just couldn't find them. And the moment we lost the ball, it's our distances, our structure wasn't right. So it was a shit show all round, Avi. And you can't blame. Look, Florian Wirtz and a lot of players, Mohamed Salah, Kanate were awful. But I don't blame the players for that first half performance. I blame it more on the manager. As much as I like him, as much as I admire him and respect him, well, you have to call it is for what it is, Avi. That Arnie Slot had his shocker on Saturday afternoon, and that's the reason why he changed it after 45.
Ben, Asim saying, shocking Slot. I think that should be the title. And it was a shocker. They get the goal, albeit a bit, a bit fortunate with that corner. But hey, those things happen all season. We'll get a rub off the green, and they got it yesterday. No complaints there. Individual performances, Ben. It is a little slight concern, and we'll go from the back. I thought Alisson was superb, by the way. I thought if anyone deserves a bit of credit,
he kept us in it.
Alisson,
he was excellent.
It was a PSG-esque performance, wasn't it, from the Champions League? He definitely kept us in it.
In the words of Roy Keane, though, it is his job. Do it all like great, do a good saves, and that is what he's supposed to do. He's allowed to make saves for us.
It's like the postman delivering letters. He's just doing his job.
Yeah. Henderson made a world-class save from Gravenberch as well. It pushed it onto the post, didn't he, in the first half? And Kanate missed from 2 yards as well. So people saying that it could have been 5-0 at half-time. It could have been 2-2 as well, but that's football for you. But there we go.
We'll go to, you mentioned it earlier on, Ben, not talk of the town, but the first sort of, Ibu Konate. He is struggling. I thought, after the Arsenal game, after Burnley, I thought, okay, he's recapturing that form. Even against Everton, I thought he was really good. I thought they handled Beto very well. But he's had that sort of brain fart sort of performance. It wasn't even a moment. It was a performance where he was really bad. And we'll come on to Bradley as well about what he brings, because I thought he struggled really badly yesterday as well.
Yeah.
But Ibu Konate, Ben, I don't want to say that, maybe it's the contractual talks that he's suffering from, but there is something wrong right now, isn't there? Whether it's a mindset, whether it's just being comfortable, being league winners. And we see that creep in, we see that we see players relaxed second, third season. United didn't have that problem when Fergie, Fergie kept going, and they kept winning. But with Ibu Konate, what is it? Because the last 2.5 weeks, he's been superb. And then he goes back to his shell again, like what we've seen earlier on in the season.
Yeah, the simple answer for me is I've got no problem with his defending. Generally speaking, he's an excellent defender, wins majority of his battles and his duels. He's good positional and he's great pace. My big problem with Konate, and I know I keep saying it, I'm a glass half full, but that's where the glass stops with Konate at the moment, because his on the ball ability is quite frankly awful. He's struggling, really struggling. Like there was a little moment at the beginning of the first half where the ball's just getting recycled along the back four. And then it was like he had to play a little bit more of a difficult pass infield or out to Bradley, and he panicked, and then they were onto him, and they nearly nicked in again, and what's called, and nearly scored again, and it was just like his on the ball ability is bang average, like genuinely bang average. You know, he hasn't got the ability to punch a ball through the lines. Joe Gomez is a better passer than Ibu Konate.
Joe Gomez is a very good footballer.
A very good football. If he could stay fit, I'd have Joe Gomez starting ahead of Konate at this moment in time. I genuinely would. And I wonder whether or not it's something that is going to be considered in the next couple of weeks if Konate doesn't sort himself out, because I think it's a real problem, because we're trying to play intricate build-up with a Florian Wirtz and with a little bit more of a possession style rather than a Trent ball out of the back four. And he has the move breaks down quite regularly with Konate, and analysts of opposition teams are onto it. So they're like, we'll just overload on the players that can bring the ball out, and we'll leave Konate. It's amazing how much ball Konate has when we're building up, because players don't let him have it, because he can't hurt you with it, because he's not got the ability. He'll either drop a big long one over the top, which quite often is too deep. You know, as I say, he's a great defender, but he's not a great footballer at all. Not a great footballer.
Not a great footballer, Asim, but surely we don't drop him for Galatasaray on Tuesday, do we? To bring Gomez in? Is that a possibility? Is that where we're at now? Okay,
I would for fitness.
2 good weeks and then 1 bad week, 2 good weeks, 1 bad week. Surely Konate, sooner or later, Asim, finds his rhythm. Regardless of the contractual talks, regarding whether he's leaving or he's playing for Real Madrid, or he's playing with the idea of whatever he's saying in the media. Surely Konate is club first, the club that is at Liverpool. Surely he finds his form.
Yeah, the annoying thing with Konate is I thought for the last 2-3 games he's been really, really good. I think he handled Beto really well. I think Mateta is a different proposition altogether. He can hold the ball really well. The thing is, what I mentioned earlier, Mateta, he's stronger, he's bigger, he's better. But the most important thing is he's got runners, willing runners behind him and next to him as well. And that's what makes it a lot more difficult. We know strikers, whether you're Mateta, Beto, Jimenez, all over the country, you're going to go sit on Konate rather than Van Dijk. Oh, I thought Konate was better until he came off in the second half. From 45 to 75, I thought he was better. And Liverpool, as a collective, looked a lot better because we were playing in a structure that we're a lot used to. We stretched the pitch further up the pitch as well. But Konate, first half, I thought he was too touch tight and he's too eager to have a battle. And there was one instance where he was really tight. Really tight, and all he could just be, and you hear the pundits on him. You don't need to be a professional footballer. If you played a decent level, you know when you come up against a really, really big lad who's stronger, who's bigger than you, and that's a bit of a difficult thing to do when you come up against a big lad like Konate. But is when you get too touch tight, you get drawn in and you lose the line of the ball. And there was really one really, really annoying thing where if he was literally 2 yards or even a yard behind Mateta and the ball went down the channel, all he could do is you either run it off into touch or you just turn on it and give it back to the keeper. But because he was literally up his arse, Mateta spun on him and he lost the ball. And I think that was the time when he gave the yellow card away on the far right-hand side. But that is his problem. He gets too engaged, too involved when he doesn't need to. And that's where he lacks general football.
Quite naive, isn't he? It's quite a naivety.
But I'm going to go one step further than that. I think he sometimes lacks footballing IQ.
I agree.
He is. And, Van Dijk gets sometimes really, really heavily criticized for being, the opposite. But 9.999% of the times, Van Dijk is, because he uses that football IQ, he uses his brain, he's one step ahead of the situation, and then he cuts off the ball when he is, or it's on his terms rather than the striker's terms. Look,
gets a bit emotional too easy, doesn't he? I feel like, Gabriel's a little bit like that, funnily enough. He's a very good player and he can affect the game, but he can also become quite emotional and just not focus on the situation and deal with the task in hand rather than just being dragged into a battle that he didn't need to be dragged into. And ironically, the one where he spun away and Mateta and Konate, was in front of him, and Mateta pulled him back, didn't he? And then got ahead, and Alisson saved it. And I think it was a foul, but it's just it's getting inside your head, isn't it? And it's like he's got to learn to just let those situations go and not let somebody get inside your head. And he does allow that to happen too often, I think.
The problem, Kanate, and we have to reiterate that point, and we'll be talking about it further down the line as well, is more and more people like ourselves are mentioning his footballing ability and his on the ball qualities, is because 3-4 years ago we didn't need to mention it, is because he had a lad at right back who's really, really good on the ball. And now when Szoboszlai is not playing, we don't have a right back that is good on the ball. We have a runner, and we have energy, we have movement around our creative players going in, and we have a really intense right back. Szoboszlai plays it a bit more differently, a lot more technical and cultured compared to the two. But when Szoboszlai is in the number 10 position, when we're faced against a really low block, is the responsibility goes up on Kanate, and he's really, really unorthodox at carrying the ball, and that loft, I don't know what it is at times, it goes down straight to the keeper. He doesn't even get a whip on it. It is, yeah. I don't know. Look, you guys are watching the Ryder Cup today. I don't know how you describe that as a golf shot, but it's pretty shy. Let's be honest. And I love I love the man. I love the vibes, but he needs to sort his performances out pretty soon, because I'm sick and tired of talking about Kanate. It seems like on a weekly basis at the moment.
Yeah. A question to both of you. I don't know why I'm hosting now, but it's fine. Asim, I'll do you a solid.
Asim's too busy going into one, so he hasn't got the energy to host as well.
As of current time, who's our first choice right back? Yesterday, I thought Bradley. I thought for the first time in a long time, Bradley really sort of struggled yesterday.
I'm not going to lie, Avi. You know my thoughts about the right.
But Frimpong, that little shit, when he came on, I thought he was worse than even the layoff for. And we talked about it, Asim. We clipped it up earlier yesterday night. The initial ball that goes to Gravenberch for that cross for the goal, for Kayser's goal. If you look at the ball that Frimpong plays Gravenberch, it's almost that he kind of bounces his foot onto the ball and it bobbles to Gravenberch, and Gravenberch take it the way it is. I thought Frimpong was absolutely awful, embarrassing yesterday, really bad. But Bradley was really better. I think we're struggling. If that's a pattern to come, I think we're struggling for.
Ben's not going to like me for saying this. I know he's a massive Bradley fan, but I've been saying Szoboszlai is our best right back at the club for a while now. I tweeted it about a month ago, and people said you're doing it over one game, but just go forward. And I think week in, week out, whether Szoboszlai spends 10 minutes in that right back role, 25 minutes in that right back role, 65 or 90, because there will be a lot of situations this season where Szoboszlai plays right back for 25 minutes at left side of midfield, and then goes back to number 10 as well, and then goes all over the pitch from wherever he starts. If there's one player who needs to be praised on a weekly basis, and we'll talk about Alisson, because I think he deserves an honourable shout out. More than an honourable shout out, because we were only competitive in the second half because of his heroics in the first half. But back to Bradley, I'm respectfully gonna say I'm worried about our right back situation if it doesn't involve.
Do you think that we should allow them rhythm? Like Bradley has been.
Of course. That was my point.
We've got to let them just keep playing.
Of course. But look, we need to win the league title. Next week, last week, this week, we could have been 8 points ahead. We're 2 points ahead now. And look, forget about those days, guys, where we're saying it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. I get that, in literal terms, but it's not what it used to be. It's never like this now, since Guardiola and Klopp used to go at each other and try to get 100 points year in, year out. And, the title race starts from the first day of the season. I'm telling you now.
No, I agree with that. But I don't think Arsenal have got 10 wins in the bounce on them either.
I agree.
I don't think anyone in this league has got 10 wins on the bounce at the moment. One, because the standard's not quite what it was when it was Klopp and Guardiola, and also the standard generally in the league is also a lot higher. But that's a different conversation. We can have that in a bit. But going back to Bradley and Frimpong, get your words out, Ben. I think Avi nailed it there. Bradley needs a bit of rhythm. He hasn't played. He hasn't been given a chance to play. And, you know, he has had injuries, so I'd like to judge him when he's had 10 starts or something like that. He needs a bit of rhythm. Frimpong is a different kettle of
My
fish.
question to you, Ben, I 100% agree. Every player needs rhythm. 100%. Just like we were talking about Florian Wirtz, anyone. Doesn't have to be a Liverpool player. My concern about Bradley is, and Frimpong as well, is when the game is stretched, and we'll stick with Bradley because the question was towards Bradley. When the game is stretched, I mean, you're facing Real Madrid and PSG under the lights at Anfield, when it's that sort of European Cup, fever in the field, you need that sort of player in the team. Every player needs a Bradley, or in the squad. Every player needs a Jordan Henderson. When we had Mane, Bobby, Salah, we still needed a Jordan Henderson in the team because they do provide an integral role on the night or over the course of a season. But against settled play and stubborn defenses, I worry about his technical level and overall quality to be an integral part in breaking down a defense, and just running an intensity at the highest level against a team like Palace is not good enough, Ben. And the reason why
that's why we
let me
then Asim,
wait, all right. So wait a sec. Our best challenges for the league is Arsenal. Jurriën Timber's their right back. Is he better going forward than what's called the Bradley?
I think you would. I think you have.
I think Jurriën Timber is a lot better than Gunnar Bradley going forward.
I haven't seen him make one significant.
I think Jurriën Timber is a player that's got the handbrake on with the manager. Whenever Jurriën Timber, you go watch last season when the right back was going higher, Jurriën Timber was creating assists. He started assisting goals, but he's just not allowed to go into.
So why did nobody say in the summer then? Oh, we're not happy with our right backs then? Isn't it?
I'm a big fan of Bradley. I'm a big fan of Bradley. I like Bradley when he was on loan at Bolton. I'm a big fan of Bradley. And for me, it's rhythm, Ben. Because no one was batting. No one batted an eyelid last season when he went crunching in onto Mbappe, and people said we're going to be fine, and we will be fine post Trent. I think we're a team in transition, but for me, Bradley, I'm all aboard. If it's Bradley and Frimpong, I'm all aboard. I'm not Frimpong's biggest fan, and Asim knows that as well. When the summer talk was happening, I said, look, I don't think we're in talks with him, and I hope we don't get Frimpong. Brilliant from afar, but in my team, I don't know if he can be a right back. I think in a wing back system in a 5, yes, he's one of the best wing backs in world football in the last 18 months. But Bradley, yes, rhythm for me is key. Staying fit and rhythm.
It is key. But the other thing as well is that, if Szoboszlai was the plan at right back this season, then it's a bad plan. And we're all singing Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes' praises, but no one's going to convince me that the plan this season was Szoboszlai at right back. I'm just not having that at all. If that's the way it happens because Bradley and Frimpong are complete mess.
Is that because Salah does not want to make that call and drop McAllister?
Yes, that's exactly it. That's what leads me on to my next question: is that what do we actually think the plan was? Because we haven't bought Florian Wirtz to not play. So we must have assumed that McAllister, Gravenberch or Szoboszlai were not going to be starters. We must have. Or are we actually genuinely saying that we thought that Szoboszlai was going to be the right back? I don't know.
I think it's both, Ben. I think it's both. Where I agree he's given McAllister to play his play into form. He likes the player, and many would agree that he deserves it. But at the moment, any Liverpool fan, even the biggest fan, I think Gene, on this channel you can't get a bigger fan of McAllister than Gene. We all know that, and even he was saying it last show that the current squad, the best midfield at the moment is like in terms of balance and physicality and legs is Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and some people are even counting Curtis Jones in there. Because their point is all about physicality.
Very good. He was very good yesterday as well, by the way.
He was, and Florian Wirtz in the number 10. And the downside I've been talking about, Konate and Trent connection, where the guy who's going to feel the exit of Trent the most is Konate, and in a similar fashion, the guy who's missing Dominic Szoboszlai in the number 10 position is McAllister. Why? is because McAllister, with the physicality, like we went for a more output number 10, and because he's got legs as well, he's got the guy, he can carry a ball from deep areas in Florian Wirtz. We've talked about it, but he's not Dominic Szoboszlai in terms of physicality, legs, and counter pressing. But last season we had a bit of the opposite, where McAllister was allowed, and he's got the tenacity. We all know that, but he was allowed effectively in really to give him the environment to be a playmaker in those positions and go into the box. How many goals did he get, especially late in on the season, in the middle part of the season, sorry, and in box crash and get those important goals as well. But when you don't have Dominic Szoboszlai and you've got Florian Wirtz, then there's an imbalance, there's a lack of legs and lack of natural physicality. So the way that Konate is missing Trent, I feel like McAllister, yeah, we all know he's out of form in isolation, but he does miss Dominic Szoboszlai in the number 10 position, because Szoboszlai gave us so much off the ball and it allowed McAllister to express himself. So look, going back to Bradley, I think, look, he's a good squad player, but against the top teams, and not even actually, I think Palace are the top team. They might not finish in the top 5, top 6, but they're a very, very unique, organized, structured, well coached and well drilled team. I think Bradley, because he doesn't have the natural quality and the technical ability. Let me finish. I think it's a bit of both, where McAllister he's giving the time to McAllister, but he's also realized that if he's going to give the number 10 the license and the freedom to be the output merchant in the advanced positions, then he needs a right back to play the ball into midfield. And I feel on the training field, he's realized that Frimpong and Bradley can't do it. They're not good enough on the ball. And I feel like he has a lot more stability. That you tell me what Szoboszlai can't really do on a consistent level that Frimpong and Bradley can do.
That's a major statement to make, those 6 games
tell me one thing.
You're taking away a lot of Szoboszlai's game if you're thinking...
Okay. Why don't you both tell me one thing that Szoboszlai can't do what Frimpong and Bradley can do?
I don't think he can run the channel as well as those two can.
Who?
Szoboszlai, he can't run that width as good as Bradley.
Oh yeah, no, he can definitely run the channel. He's got the legs.
He hasn't shown me that he can do it.
What I'm saying,
he's not as good as Bradley in tight spaces. I'll say that.
He's different to creating and doing it. He doesn't do it. He likes.
You're telling me there will be some, like, the real intensity going from in those underlapping runs. You're telling me that Bradley is better than Szoboszlai. That's completely different. Sometimes he might be better, very, a minute difference. Well, Szoboszlai can still do it to a very good level. You have to differentiate between.
But the key for me, though,
you're taking away his Szoboszlai's influence on this game. Won't be at right back. It has to be in the middle of the park.
I agree with that.
Higher up the pitch.
You can't still say that Bradley is right back.
You're telling me he's a better option than a Bradley and a Prim. And let's, by the way, just on Bradley, when he first broke through the team under Klopp 2 seasons back, he was getting assists galore. By the way, he notched up 6 assists in like 10, 11 games or something like that when he first was hitting. When he first came through, Bradley 2 seasons back. Klopp's final season.
Okay.
When he was, there's a period of that Chelsea game at home when we just obliterated him and he scored that goal as well. And then even last season he was getting in amongst the assists and obviously that Real Madrid performances and a few performances after, and then he breaks down again. Bradley's biggest criticism is his own. Bradley's criticism is he needs to stay fit, and if he stays fit, you need to give him rhythm of games. I don't want all of a sudden now he starts against Palace, he doesn't have a great game, and then now he's going to be dropped against Galatasaray and Chelsea, and Frimpong comes in. I don't think that does neither good to either Frimpong or Bradley. He has to stick with one now. Either I'm going with Bradley or I'm going with Frimpong. You brought in Frimpong for 35 million, by the way. So theoretically, he should be your first choice right back. We shouldn't be talking about a backup option.
There have been some injuries in that department.
Yeah. Or a front three.
He has been very underwhelming, Frimpong, to be fair.
Frimpong should not
be awful against Southampton.
Frimpong he should not be a front three option either. He's either a right back, and Slot needs to be bold. Take away the pun. He needs to be bold in his decision that, yes, I'm going to go with Bradley going forward, or I'm going to go with Frimpong. Szoboszlai is not the answer. Yes, he can probably still influence the game, Asim, and what you're saying is correct, but I want him influencing the game. I want him being the high presser in the final third, not backtracking. I don't want him to be backtracking.
I'm going to make a bold statement.
The legs have to come from the middle of the park.
I'm going to make a bold statement. I think Frimpong and Bradley will both break down because of the intensity of that role.
I think
Why?
I agree with that. Yeah, I kind of agree with it too.
Why is because of the lack of technical ability to pass the ball. Like our right back has been like any right back passes it down, and the thing is nullifying Salah as well. Salah has to come in deep and wide areas. People say he's finished and this and that, but Salah is still our creator, our finisher. But when was the last time he was in the edge of the box, like either putting a ball back to the back post in real, like on a consistent basis over the course of a match? Yes, we played some really good teams, but I don't like Salah coming on the halfway line and just retaining possession. We're just wasting him. We're wasting him. Why?
It's because funnily enough, the only time that happened was in the last 15 minutes of the game yesterday when he moved into the middle and Frimpong went wide right, didn't he? Yeah, and in pre-season, the two of them dovetailed really well together, Bradley and Frimpong, when they played a couple of times. But I agree with you both. I do think there is an issue there, without a shadow of a doubt. But if we're writing them both off 6 games in, then we've got a major problem. And my other big point is that, all right, if Bradley and or Frimpong were playing very well, I still go back to the point of we're playing Szoboszlai there as much as we're playing Szoboszlai there because Bradley and Frimpong aren't doing great, but we're also playing him there is because we've got nowhere else to play him. Because if there was no Florian Wirtz, then Szoboszlai would be playing in midfield. Job done.
Yeah.
But we're having to find a place for Szoboszlai because he's playing really well, and we're having to find a place for Wirtz. So I actually think the manager probably has got the biggest, it's a big thing now in his career. He's used to just having a team where plays week in, week out, same team pretty much, doesn't like a big squad. He's mentioned that already, but he's got serious names now. And he's going to have to be prepared to put a serious name on the bench like Guardiola does when he picks the player who's in form and playing well rather than the name. And that might be Wirtz until he settles, until he gets right. That might be something he needs to think about.
So last question before we go on to Super Chat and
is this about Bradley?
This is on both. Question to you both. Next 2 games, you can only pick one. Galatasaray, Chelsea away, Galatasaray away. Who's our right back? Frimpong or Bradley? Szoboszlai is not an option. Frimpong or Bradley? Asim?
Galatasaray. I don't care who plays against Galatasaray, but I would start Frimpong against Galatasaray.
You can't start one in each.
You can't, or you can.
He said he doesn't care about the Galatasaray game.
No, I'm just saying. You said have I got to pick one for both, or can I one for each?
One for both. Yeah, you can't be one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be for Bradley.
So Bradley would play for you.
Right back on Tuesday. Yeah. We got to play him into form. I think Frimpong's been crap. He doesn't look like he's taking this seriously at the moment. He looks like a little bit of a rabbit in the headlights for me.
Yeah.
And, you see him off the pitch and he's laughing and joking. And he's all that. It's like, got to get serious now, mate. You're at a serious club. This is it now. This is where you. So Bradley's got to share for me. I just think Bradley, while he's fit, you play him into form and you play him into rhythm.
One thing on that, with the inside videos that we see, and yes, we've seen Frimpong doing a skip and a hop and a scotch and whatnot. I know some people in and around the academy under 18s and 20s. They do say that Frimpong is one of the best trainers at the club.
Well, I'm sure he is. I've got no problem.
The point that we see
you see Kanate, don't you, giving it, with the jokes and stuff and whatnot, and it's dead easy to criticize after the defeat when you see all that. But the reality is, for me, Bradley's has got to be given the chance to become the first choice at this moment in time, because I just think Frimpong he's just not settled yet at all, and he doesn't look like he's comfortable. As I say, that Southampton game, he couldn't pass for toffee. Couldn't put 2 passes together in the whole game. He was leaving it short. He was all over the place. He's fallen over a lot. It's like, I feel like he needs to get a grip of his boots as well. He's flying all over
the most annoying thing about Bradley at the moment, lads, for me is, and I would probably pick him over Frimpong. What is most annoying is his delivery. Like Dominic Szoboszlai's delivery in the second half for about 15, 20 minutes or however long he played the right back position, and you put 2-3 crosses on people's heads. I think one of them was Cody Gakpo. It was a really hard, difficult header from a distance, but the delivery was a lot better. And again, I come to when you're facing teams like Palace who are comfortable to sit, you need that right back is effectively like a right-sided 10. If he's in that little right half space, it's like a little whipped ball. Whipped ball where Declan Rice is playing a lot of this season. That ball we saw, Henderson.
I don't think they have that in them. Frimpong likes to go on the byline and just sort of chip it across it. I don't think
that's his.
That's his technique. That's a technique, Asim.
It's a technique, but it's annoying. You want your right back at Liverpool. We're champions, for God's sake. It's not about technique. It's about a need. And Liverpool don't have it at the moment in Bradley. And that's what's most annoying. Because if you're going to go into those areas and you're going to give him the license to attack, because he can't beat a man from distance. He can't play a ball from distance. He doesn't put a ball over the channel to Salah. When was the last time you saw Salah? Or give me one time when you saw Salah spin on the halfway line and he's in. Where there's that, never mind the connection and the relationship. When has the right back attempted that ball? We haven't got it in our locker. So what happens is that right back has to go into those areas to be and take the opposition's winger.
We've hardly been on the break in any game as well, though, to be fair, haven't we? We've been predominantly, it's either been a 50-50 battle, Newcastle and Arsenal, or they've been camped in their own box. So there hasn't been that many transitions, but there aren't going to be that many transitions because most teams are going to put 10 men behind the ball against us, and that's just the reality of it.
Bradley is really good when the game is stretched.
Yeah.
When it's end to end, and you just mentioned it, and it was a great point, Avi, that he created a lot of assists. I was there at Anfield when he scored that goal against Chelsea. Yeah, that was his game. It was a European night. It was that type of feeling, and I think Conor Bradley is more of a Klopp player than an Arne Slot player. I really do, and I think he's that type of player where. And we get told, and I didn't see him at Bolton, where he played as a winger and he scored goals and assisted goals, and I did see that, in him where he could stand up a man, take a yard and cross it. And in the same game, I think he created a goal for Dominic Szoboszlai, where he stood up a man, he took it on, he crossed it, and Dominic Szoboszlai scored with the header.
Do you think they bought Frimpong to be first choice then?
I think no.
Of course he did.
No, I think he bought Frimpong and Bradley. I think he decided to give Bradley a chance to stake a claim. But I think over the last month or so, he's realized that these guys give me 5, 6, 7 out of 10 performances against certain opposition where I need intensity and movement. But against the top-class opposition or really good teams like Palace, I need more. And I think that's why he's starting. And this wasn't just a little idea that's come about in the last 2 weeks, Ben. We saw Dominic Szoboszlai in that open training session at right back. We saw Dominic Szoboszlai in preseason games at right back. I think he's seen a thing in preseason. I think, our build-up, and for the last, especially the first 3-4 games this season, our build-up wasn't great. And we took too many risks from day one against Preston as well. And that was one thing that was evident to me when I came out of that ground, where we're taking too many risks. And guess what? First game, second game, everyone's talking about Liverpool's, structure the moment they lose the ball. So look, I sound really, really negative tonight, but I do have a few concerns about the team. I think we can get it right. I think there's too many things we're trying to look naturally with so many players come. We've got Isak who's 50-60% fit, and he showed some glimpses in the second half. And when he's getting attention with centre backs a lot more, we will become a better team. But I think we just need to fix up a few things, and we need to do it quickly.
My big question, sorry, one very, very. Oh, no, go on. You're doing the super chat.
I'll get you point out the way though.
No, very, very quickly. Well, it might not be that quickly, to be honest. Is serious question. Do we think there's a possibility that we bought Florian Wirtz because it was opportunistic to buy a genuine generational talent, but maybe didn't at that moment in time or during the course of signing him over the summer have an out-and-out plan for him this season? Do we think that there's a chance that we just thought, well, he's that good, we'll just find a way to make it work, but we don't know exactly how it will work at the moment? Or do you think they did it purely because they had a specific plan for him?
Just my point of view is, I can't fathom in any lifetime where you spend 116 million and say, give him a bedding season for a year until we really see the fruition of his work in the second year, Ben. I think there had to be a concise plan. And the way we operate in the transfer market, you would have thought that we've been tracking words 2 years prior. Remember that famous quote from Michael, maybe it wasn't Michael Edwards as such, but I think it was Ian Graham who said, we do our homework 18 months in advance for the actual, and go in for the player, way in advance, but we're starting our homework with the data, with the XGs and stuff, way in advance. Yeah.
So what was the plan then? What was the plan for this year?
I think there has to be an adaptation period where Wirtz is coming. And yes, in an ideal world, Ben, when you're spending that much money, you expect fireworks from day one. Plug and play, like Asim says. But it is a tough league. We've seen Sancho do incredible numbers in the Bundesliga. He comes back home at Man United for 75, 80 million. He's struggled. He's still struggling. Where is he at now? He's been at Chelsea and he's at Villa. I don't even think he's kicked a football for Villa either. Florian Wirtz is different. He's come from a title-winning team in the Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen, from the work that Alonso did. I think we have to give him a little bit of grace. I know people hate that word or want to hate me using that when it comes to a Florian Wirtz, but it's the first time in a long time where this team is transitioning, where we're integrating purposefully a number 10. We haven't done that in the past. I think the last number 10 at a stretch was probably Shaqiri in the 2018-19 period.
Yeah, and that's all fine. But where is he? What was the plan? Who was going to come out?
That's on Slot. That's what I mean. Slot needs to be bold. He can't say that.
I think it was Szoboszlai personally. I think it was Szoboszlai because if McAllister is what World Cup winner the way that he is, and Gravenberch is a specialist 6, I think they thought, well, Wirtz is going to be a better natural 10 than Szoboszlai, but they haven't taken into consideration the running power and the energy that Szoboszlai gives the team. So it's almost as if like, well, what are we going to do with Szoboszlai? And we're missing him because the team's too slow with Wirtz, McAllister and Gravenberch.
I tell you, my final point, and I'll let Asim spit on this, just to lay down the law. I think if we're going with, in the Premier League, if you're going with the McAllister, Wirtz, and Gravenberch, I think it's suicidal against most teams because the physicality issue. I think it's very suicidal. I think you will be losing your midfield battles week in, week out. I think you have to put the boss in there. I think the one for me right now, which is obvious, and it should be obvious, the one that needs to be dropped is McAllister. But there is imbalances, like Asim says, that right back, there's a bit of an imbalance right now with the two fullbacks coming in. Maybe a slight imbalance. With
sorry, Abby, but that's because of form and fitness, isn't it? Yeah. If McAllister's at his best, he starts. And that's why I'm saying, and I know it didn't work on Saturday.
He doesn't start for me at his best, though. Ben, he doesn't start for me even at his best. It's a Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Wirtz midfield right now.
So at his best, McAllister doesn't get into our best 11.
He doesn't get in my best 11, no.
Wow.
Does he get in yours?
Yeah, I'm convinced. I'm absolutely convinced. I know it didn't work yesterday, but I'm convinced that midfield stays the way that it is, and Wirtz is left at the front 3. But it needs to be done in the right way, not where he's just a fluent, go where you want, free man player. He needs to be, and then you'd have Kerkez give you the width, but he wasn't bombing on at all. Bombing on at all.
Ben, for you, the 3 are Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and then Wirtz amongst the front 3.
Yeah.
Asim?
Yeah.
And then Asim, go into the super chat straight after.
I might need to puff that.
I agree with you, Avi. I don't think McAllister is in the team at the moment.
No, but when he's at his best.
I said at their best even. I said even at their best, he doesn't get in.
It depends on the opposition. It does. If you're playing PSG, I wouldn't have McAllister. If you're playing Arsenal away, I wouldn't have McAllister in the team.
I think McAllister struggles against Brentford yesterday at United. At the Brentford Stadium, sorry. That midfield, Brentford, with Henderson, with the personalities they've got in the middle of the park, I think McAllister struggles.
Are we not doing him a massive disrespect considering he had a brilliant season last season and he was part of a Premier League winning team?
I think he's a superb footballer. But Ben, if we're integrating a Florian Wirtz in a 10, I don't want to see him on the left. I don't want to see him in a fluid 3. I don't want to see that, Ben. And I'm not going against him. I don't want that. I want him as a 10. We've paid 116 effing million on him. We've got to play him in his favoured position.
But he keeps picking McAllister, doesn't he?
Sorry?
That's the mad thing. He keeps picking McAllister. So it's baffling, isn't it? So that's what I said. I almost feel like he probably needs to grow a pair now and start picking the team that's on form. Or what was the Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes plan in the summer? When everyone's fit, what's your team? Because horses for courses and different teams for different opposition is one thing, but then we keep chatting about rhythm. And I'll change this person for that game and this person for that. So we're basically saying that McAllister can't play against certain teams, and Wirtz can, blah, blah, blah. It just feels as though you generally speaking, your best players start majority of games. And McAllister surely has to be one of our best players when he's at his best. He isn't at the moment, but he still keeps picking him, even though he's nowhere near his best. So in Slot's mind, he's in the best 11, surely. And I just think the fact that he's accommodating Szoboszlai, that's the biggest problem. But I'll keep on coming back to it. The whole structure of the team and things where it's breaking down and here and there and there. It's like, well, what is the plan? What is the actual plan? And I'm not quite sure at the moment.
But you say, Ben, he's accommodating Dominic Szoboszlai. How is he accommodating Dominic Szoboszlai?
Because he can't find a place for him in his best position, so he's finding a place for him at right back.
I agree with both. I agree with what he's saying as well. I think Slot is hell-bent on putting Szoboszlai in this team, but then he's earned it, Ben. The start that he's had.
Yeah.
You can't drop Szoboszlai. The ball that he plays yet to Wirtz.
Yeah.
I don't think Gravenberch plays that yet. Szoboszlai finds him, and Wirtz is no.
No. McAllister played a brilliant ball to Isak as well. You know where credit where is due.
Yeah, fabulous ball. Yeah.
For the penalty.
Yeah, the one on the left channel, and he threads it into him, and he should have scored. He gets clipped as well, by the way. That never got any mention. If he'd have gone down, it was a pen.
Lacroix catches him. He should have gone down there. Frimpong
should have gone down.
Frimpong should have gone down too. He had another one.
Yeah. I'll be interested. I've said it a couple of times. I'd quite like the idea of Szoboszlai left of the front three as well. That hasn't seemed to be a consideration either. I wonder whether or not that's a possibility or something that we might have a look at, because he plays left of the three for Hungary and dovetailing with Kerkez.
Asim loves hips on the wing. I don't think Szoboszlai's got that. He's not a quick turner for me. When Cat was a quick turner, I think
it wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't a coincidence. Liverpool looked better, much better team, is because we went what we're used to. Salah has lost his legs, but he creates isolation still. He'll still create isolation on the wings at the age of 50. But if he's lost the legs, he can't take a player on the inside. He gets a half a yard, or he'll put a ball through an eye of a needle, and he'll create chances even in his old age. On the other side, Gakpo, Diaz, they have learned over the years to run at people. But if they can't run at people, they'll. How many times have I mentioned to you guys last year the amount of times that Arne Slot at the touchline was saying, Lucho wide, Gakpo, Cody wide. And this is what we were talking about earlier when Arteta, that viral clip was going, and when he played Eze on the left-hand side on paper is exactly the same in terms of the dynamic of what he wants to do. He wants to come on the inside all the time. But when he
hasn't played him though in that front three, as he's played him in what's called in the midfield three.
Exactly, but when you're playing against a team such a stubborn back five, you have to stretch the opposition. And in the second half, we looked a lot better. Is when the wingers at times don't need to get touch the ball. Is when they're stretching the opposition. They've got the right back thinking, do I get close and let him run at me, or do I keep my distance with my right-sided centre back? And if he stays, we get to run at him. If he goes, then the left midfielder gets to take advantage of that space, like McAllister, like Szoboszlai, like Gravenberch, to carry it into that area. So Look, at the moment, the problem is we can't pin it on one. And this is, I think, the crux of the matter is we can't pin it on Bradley. We can't pin it on Wirtz. We can't pin it on Szoboszlai. We can't pin it
Yeah,
on
because the structure's not
McAllister.
quite right.
But what it is every little problem is linked.
Domino
and
effect.
That is a big problem, Avi.
And I think I want to be careful with what I say. I want to be
Do these super chats, mate, before they take the money back.
Careful with my choice of words. I just want to say, like, it's a good problem to have, as long as it doesn't go into the season and start affecting game. Yesterday was a toughie. Yeah, especially when we thought we were running away out of Selhurst Park with a draw. Felt like a victory. To lose it was a big sucker punch. But just on my point, Ben, I think Curtis Jones should be ahead of McAllister as of now, form-wise.
he just told us he's staying in the team.
The chat's going off as it is at the moment. I don't know about Jones coming into it, but
Asim with the super chats. I thought Jones was a good cameo from Jones again.
You'll start Tuesday, I think.
Some of these supers were sent in last week. It's about time we put them on the screen.
Someone's here saying what we're going to do second half against Palace.
You know what, lads? If someone tunes in, you'd think we're 17th in the table. But look, honestly, we have to be real, man. We have to be real.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree. You do have to be real.
He's back.
That's another one as well. That's a great. Chiesa probably deserves to start on the left as well. He didn't start him, did he?
Chiesa does not start for me yet. The way we've got
big up Samuel, by the way.
That form, big up Samuel L. Sorry, when will Chiesa get to start? Plus Maka Wirtz combo is a big no for him. Chiesa, where we've got him right now, Ben, it's peak. Bring him on between 70 to 90. Give him 20 minutes, 15 minutes. If we need a goal, play him. I know he was brilliant against Southampton. Don't get me wrong. That was a brilliant 90-plus minute performance from Chiesa. But where we've got him now, it's brilliant. He's making an impact. Someone gave me this. So I wrote it down earlier on. He's he's either creating or scoring, assist or scoring every 77 minutes. But where he is right now, that's where I'll have him. If he comes on against Galatasaray and scores, yeah, maybe then. But against the top opposition, not yet. I thought we missed Gakpo, and people might find this surprising, but he is an oddball. He isn't in tune with the Liverpool team. He isn't in sync with the Liverpool team as of now. But I thought yesterday, because of his physical stature, I thought he was needed from the off against Palace. But where we've got Chiesa, that's where I'll leave him for the moment. Yeah. But he's certainly making a play.
Yeah, I'm starting him on Tuesday though. I'm starting him on Tuesday personally. I think he deserves a start. He's got as many league goals as Salah, and he's played a fraction of the minutes. I think I'm right. Chat might have me off there, but I think they're both on 2 league goals now, aren't they?
He's on 2.
Yeah, Chiesa's on 2. Yeah, so that in itself is like, and one of Salah's is a pen. So it's like, and I know he's only, and I know it's like, little tap-ins here and that, but he deserves an opportunity. He does that. And he might give us something different down the left-hand side. There might even be a conversation to give Mo a rest on Tuesday. And that hasn't been talked about at all, to be honest. But yeah, that might be something that, and Samuel L. I'm going to shoe on into his next one.
It's on my.
Sorry, mate. Yeah,
it's on my thing.
I think Samuel L. Big up Samuel. Point the channel. Another super chat sent in by him. He goes, "I think there is a Salah conversation brewing, lads."
So just on this, because Asim will know this, Gene will know this, Ben maybe, Ben not so much. I always am I have been critical at times at the King, especially after January. There is a bit of a drop off. Statistics show that, but I think this season, because of credits in the bank, right? He can play. He can play himself into form, and there should be no conversation about him being dropped yet. If it's game 10 and he's still on 2 goals and the performances have really dipped, then fair enough. But right now, you don't drop the King. Maybe for a Galatasaray, yeah, I can understand that. I can understand why you drop him for the Champions League game. We don't need to go full pelt or first 11. We saw what happens, if he's finished top of that bloody table. We get PSG next round. I think with Salah, I think you can probably give him a few rest games again in the Champions League. But in the league, the bread and butter, you've got to start him.
Yeah, my thing with Salah very quickly is the work rate's still there. He worked his socks off against Atletico. He was excellent against Atletico. The work rate is definitely still there. And the other thing very quickly is that every time there's a conversation about Salah, there's not much longer before there is no conversation about Salah, because he puts 99 times out of 100, he puts people back in their box. And when he's on the pitch, he's still a huge threat, and he still has to be dealt with by the opposition. If you start giving him more time and space, then he will love that. I just think the whole function of the team, once that starts to click a bit more, then Salah won't. He's the least of our problems, is what I'm saying.
I'd rather him have a slow start this year, and then March onwards or February onwards, once he's back from AFCON, he goes on a rip. Because if that's the case, by all means, he can do what he wants.
You know, the thing is we've put our eggs in the Salah basket for many years, because we never have a replacement for him.
Exactly.
And we don't have a really good understudy for him, and rightly so, because alhamdulillah, he plays nearly every week, or he does play every week. And there is a question mark against him when he comes back from the AFCON, but let's hope the roles are reversed in terms of performances this year, where he starts badly and he finishes really well. But I have to repeat the point that if you're going to even think about dropping Salah, like, who are you going to play there? Frimpong.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. That is the question. Who are you going to play there?
Who are you going to play there?
Yeah, and you're paying him, and people don't want to hear this, but you're paying him £375,000 a week. Same as Virgil, he could have 10 bad games in a row and he's still playing. So that's just the facts of it. And people are saying in the chat he's not a threat. He is a threat. He is a threat. It's just that the team generally aren't functioning very well at the moment. But he's still a threat, and I'll have that argument with anybody. But
drunk Virgil,
there's nobody better.
Drunk Virgo, if you're just going to keep spamming the chat, we'll block you straight. You've been in and around for the last 4 or 5 years, everywhere we've been, but please give it a rest, okay?
He's definitely drunk, that's for sure.
I think it's great. I think it's great that Wirtz is out of form. Isak's fine-tuning himself to get to full fitness. Chiesa's getting better. Gakpo's out of form. Salah's out of form. When they all click,
yeah, no, fair point.
When they all click. Asim, just run through the...
Ekitike is the only one playing well, and the stupid clown got himself suspended for Saturday as well. That's another thing as well that is not being said.
And just on that, I think, what problem is, everyone's bringing great points. I think with Ekitike, that celebration, League Cup, why is he doing that? Such a silly boy, this and that. I think he just wants everyone to know that, listen, Isak this, Isak that. That's all he's probably been hearing. That he's the understudy. But he's proving people wrong, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he should be. Yeah. You know what? He's allowed us to get Isak up to full fitness. He's allowed for us to take our time with Alexander Isak. What Ekitiké's done so far has been nothing short of phenomenal. Yes, it was silly, but I think that was a little dig at fans saying, "Listen, I'm Hugo Ekitike. I'm here to stay. I'm not here as a one-season wonder or a second-season wonder, and then I'll get sold for 120 million. I'll stake my claim in this first 11 too." So yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of supers, so let's
run through them now without talking Ramin. I'll just go through.
Go for him, yeah.
Rehan, big up Rehan, always supporting the channel.
3 months, what a legend.
He sent a super chat as well, but I'll come to his super chat. Kanate and Bradley added fuel to the fire, but Slot was the arsonist yesterday. His Bakwas tactics and with words left being unbalanced was completely. Selection in the house, always supporting the channel as ever. Kirkes seems to always want to get the ball in his dominant side for the dominant foot. He's more angle biased than Robbo compared to Robbo, to be honest. And this is the point I was making. And look, you know what? When Selection agrees with me, then it must be nice. It's a good night.
It's a good night's work.
It's a good night's work. Rehan, always supporting, man. Thank you so much, bro. I trust Slot to fix the issues, and I think we all do. It's a good point to make, and I do think we'll click. But my worry is when people compare it to PSG, but they're in an easy league where they can afford to click later. If we click in November, the title is already gone. It's a great point. Great point. Let's keep it moving. Muhammad Kibriya, the OGs in the house today, and sending us their super chats. Evening, people. Salah got the team wrong. We didn't deserve nothing. And Ali was the man of the match. Need to win next two. So now we will have a gap. This loss was due. We move. Big up, Kibriya. Thank you so much for sending that through. Samuel with the hat trick tonight. Was our window as good as we thought it was? Well, judging by our thoughts today, especially mine and Avi's, then it was completely shy, Samuel.
We got no centre back. We got no right back. We bought a 10 that we didn't need. We bought a centre forward too late. We bought one that wasn't needed. Yeah.
Big up. Thank you so much, Samuel, for sending those super chats. SKLFC. Frimpong questions ain't justified. Before injury, he was playing very good. First, his defense was the question, and now his technicality. Let him settle. Fair point. Fair point. Samuel, bloody hell, more than Haaland tonight. Chiesa looking like our best wide option right now. Okay, we were just considering who can play and replace and be an understudy for Salah.
Just on this point though,
Okay.
you have to be you have to commend Chiesa. He could have left in the summer, could have got a loan move, could have gone back to Italy, and I think we would have been comfortable letting him go for like maybe half price or even 10 million. But he's plucked away, and one reason or another, it's World Cup year as well. He'll be wanting to get into that. Well, that's if they qualify, but I know they're struggling. Well, the Azzurri are struggling, but if Italy get into the World Cup, he'll be wanting to stake a claim. I find it amazing that Chiesa has just plucked away, and every game he's been involved 100%. In, he's making impact. So he absolutely has my own respect. And I know I've just said 5 minutes earlier, I don't want him to be starting yet, but the way he's carrying on, he'll stake that claim sooner rather than later.
And football's an amazing thing, really, isn't it? In the way that things turn and change, because obviously the terrible injury to Leone is also giving him an opportunity to now be in the Champions League squad.
He's scoring the winner in Budapest, Ben. He's winning. He's scoring the winner.
Absolutely.
On our way to number 7.
Football is mad the way that it just opens up these opportunities. So yeah, I would love nothing more than Chiesa to be a success.
As I'm not sure if we did a show, but prayers and thoughts with Giovanni Leone as well. He looked absolutely brilliant against Southampton, and that is tough luck. That's really cool. The only solace is that he's got it at 18. The ACL, and he'll be back before. I know Slot has said a year. I think that's the time frame the club will want to give him, and I think at a young age you can give him all the time in the world to recover. But he'll be back. He'll be back fit and firing as well.
Well said. We'll keep it moving. Albert Akinremi, thank you so much for your super chat. Wirtz can't play front three. His GA isn't good enough. Output from those positions. Well said. Thank you so much for sending that through. Vazidev Enazi thought McAllister was brilliant against PSG at Anfield. Yeah, to be fair, he was. That
was months ago.
Yeah, but it was when we were talking about McAllister being right for certain games, and you both said he wouldn't start against PSG.
Yeah,
the lunatics.
Total Eclipse, thank you so much for sending this through. Play a 4-2-3-1. Alisson, Robbo, Van Dijk, Gomez, Jones as right back. Wow. Gravenberch and Sobo as the 2. Then Chiesa, Ekitike, and Salah. He's dropped Gakpo as well. And Salah as the 3, and Isaac as the centre forward. The problem with this is, and we've been talking about Salah's lost his legs, and rightly so as well. He's 33, whatever he is. A slot presses with the number 9 and the number 10. So in a 4-2-4, 4-4-2, you'll have Chiesa and Isak as the front 2, and Salah as the right winger off the ball. And if you think we've been all talking about he's lost his legs, we can't do that, I'm afraid, against top quality opposition week in, week out. Connor Afe, thank you so much for sending this through. Wirtz is trying too hard. I feel like he needs to relax more. He's too reactive and making so many runs that are pointless. Let the ball come to him.
I totally agree with that.
I'm going against this. I think it needs to be more sort of intense. I think it needs to be more intense. I think
doesn't stop running. He's everywhere.
I don't think he's bothered by the price tag right now. I don't think he bothers about the goals and assists. I think he needs to have that little bit of pressure. Maybe I'm seeing the game differently, or maybe wrongly as well. But for me, it's just I want to see a bit more intensity from him.
I don't know whether he's like,
or give a kick to someone in behind, like Keel.
I don't think he's that type of player. Odegaard's not that type of player.
I think he needs to be though, Ben. I think in the Premier League, I think he might need to be. He might need to change tact for a little bit, just to get
maybe, yeah, maybe. I'm just waiting for this last super chat, so I'm gonna have
to. It's good. It's a good super chat. Thanks a lot, Connor.
That was really good. That one.
Well, honestly, what would this team do without Ali and Verge? 100%. Great point.
Yeah, great
thank you so much for sending that through, Hugo. Promo, thank you so much for the super chat. I really worry about slot. Coaches can decline too.
Honestly.
What you say to this comment is just thanks for the super chat. Don't give any more super chats.
Yeah. You know what? Super chats can decline as well, honestly. The man has lost. He's lost 4 Premier League games in 2 seasons, and 2 of them were when we were pissed. You know what I mean?
And the voice of reason has come. The voice of reason has come in. Atik, the man, he says, "Relax, people. Too much doom and gloom. For what it is ultimately just one loss. Slot learned from the Forest loss last season. He'll learn from this also." Well said, Avi. You agree with that? Ben does.
100%. Listen, this is a minor blip, and these days in title races you can't have blips because you're aiming at 85, 90, or 90 plus. This season, I think 90 points wins it. I still don't think Arsenal get there. We will, hence we will be champions. But yesterday was another learning curve for Slot. But sooner rather than later, he's going to have to break the stranglehold, because Nottingham Forest were brilliant last season with a similar system. Glasner's done it with Palace, even in the Community Shield, even again yesterday. He needs to find the right formula and just stick with the basics sometimes.
Yeah. What I would say about promos, I think is way too early for that. He's had one bad game this season in terms of in a tactical aspect promo, and I think you can't. I've given out of the 3 lads on the panel tonight. I've given and I've gone for the manager. Some people will say I've gone too harsh and gone too big on it. But, in isolation, I think it's that first half performance was on the manager. But to start questioning him as an overall coach, I think you can't do that after one game. But thank you so much for sending that through. Boys, it's been 1 hour and a half. I really enjoyed that show. Look,
it's well easier winning. We still got Sheen to come in as well for this 10 pence worth flipping order. He's probably sat there tonight watching this thinking, oh my word, I'm glad I missed this one.
This is not my dinner, by the way.
You are entitled to opinion, Marty.
At the end of the day, I'm not being rude. It's just an opinion. And my opinion is that Arne Slot is not a declining coach. All right. He's lost 1 game this season. The team's not playing well. We're in transition. We've got a lot of new players, but he's still made brilliant substitutions that have won games this season as well. People just need to get a little bit of context. The man is doing a brilliant job. And he's not just going to suddenly turn into a shit coach in 1 game. We battered the Crystal Palace in the second half. We did. He rectified the mistakes, and we were much the better team second half. We dominated, and we could have easily have got a point, even if it maybe not have been deserved. But more often than not, he rectifies what he needs to do. He makes early substitutions when he needs to. He did it with Kirkes and Robertson earlier on in the season. I've got no problems about Slot. I just want him to show a little bit more sort of bravery and start picking the players in form and who are suiting the team at the moment, rather than trying to get players into the team over name rather than position, and stick with the team a little bit more. But
there's been a change as well with Heitinger going to Ajax and Van Bronckhorst coming in as well. So there'll be different methods and different changes in training sessions as well. So look, it's all about bringing it together, integrating. And listen, by November, I'm pretty sure by mid-October, November, things will start gelling, and Wirtz will, he'll be up and running as well in his campaign.
Okay. Ben, you've got one more question. I think Promo deserves that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. What is it?
What
What's
is
his Slots philosophy, or is it to be a reactionary coach? What is Slots philosophy, or is it to be a reactionary coach? I don't completely understand the question, if I'm being honest. I think Slots philosophy is to win football matches. I think he does what he has to do to try and win football matches. And unless I'm missing some stats, he's won loads and loads and loads of football matches already for this team.
His average, just to reiterate, Slot's win percentage is 70% at Liverpool Football Club, and he's not managed 10 games. He's managed nearly 55 games, 60 games.
Yeah, and he didn't spend a penny last summer, so it's like he has spent money this summer, or the club have spent money this summer, and it takes time to integrate players and get players to where he wants to be. I just want to see I want to start to see over the next few weeks what the actual long-term plan is, because when everyone's fit, what's your team? And if it is a case of a horses for courses, where one player for one and one player for another, so be it. But I'm not seeing that at the moment. I'm seeing him pick the same players, but trying to accommodate other players. So I maybe want to see that. But yeah, I'm not questioning him as a manager at all.
Right, that's the wrap. When we don't go for a few days, 1 hour 35 minutes. Wow, there's still 335 of you here. Like and subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. But we'll be back.
Ben, I think you've got some hate from Emil Heskey. STFU. We're not stupid. We know his job is to win football.
Yeah, nice one.
Emil, go on.
You know what? Yeah. But you know what? Thing is, like, this was like, if it's like Ben's turn to get a bit of shit, tomorrow it'll be me.
You know what? Bring it on.
You're used to it, Abby. You're used to it.
At the end of the day, none of us are coaches or anything more than you guys. It's just opinions. At the end of the day, it's just purely opinions. All right. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, but it's just opinions. So if you don't like the opinion, then I'm absolutely fine with that. No problem at all. But you're all wrong and I'm right.
Saeed, Joshua Abe, if he stays at Liverpool, will be playing first team football within 18 months. There you go.
You've tweeted about him, man. Yeah, Avi?
Said that about Abe, didn't you, mate?
No, never mind. Abe is he's a talent.
Has he got
hips? Yes, he has.
No. If you get a tweet from Avi and he tells you you've been warned. Has he got?
Oh, yeah, he has.
He
has. So has Lennox Conde, by the way, the right back that I think will be the one. But yeah, Joshua Abe, Lamore Forrester, he's a young talent who's coming through. Some good players in the youth system. But obviously, look, not very rarely do we get an influx of them. One or two should make it. But Joshua Abe is one to keep an eye on, because Chelsea are hot on his heels as well.
Okay, people, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with all the shows over the upcoming week. If you have not checked the table and you've been watching tonight, Liverpool are in a relegation battle. Strap yourselves in. Take care and good night.
Wait.